Oh, coming at you here from the ATX. It's the Box to Box Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Mason Carmichael. With me, as always, to my left, Travis Carmichael. To my right, Moses Hernandez. And, of course, across from me, giving me those dagger eyes, Chris Hernandez, our producer Chris. Guys, how's your week going?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Like I said, happy to be back, and I'm excited, man. We're gonna get into some MLS, and we get to prove that Mason is not a CONCACAF Champions League expert.
Hey, whoa.
It did not go to penalties.
Whoa.
To be continued.
Easy guy. Mo, new format. We're releasing more content during the week. A little bit shorter episodes, but I feel like it gives us a little bit of a better chance to dive into some topics and take them on just one at a time. How do you feel about just getting specific topics per episode now instead of having a broad horizon of everything?
I actually like this new format. It actually gives us more time to kind of break down what we need to break down properly, based on leagues. If we're going zooming past every single segment, it gets hard. And, some of the listeners, some on one day they want to hear one thing, And so to keep it simple and to keep it sweet, I think this is a great format for everybody. Obviously we would love feedback from our viewers. So if you guys could, email us your feedback at 90min at boxtoboxradio.com.
Yeah.
Again, that's 90min at boxtoboxradio.com. We would love to hear you guys' feedback, kind of give us some insight on how you guys feel on this. And other than that, ready to go, man. Let's get this one on the road.
Yeah, for sure. Hit us up on Twitter. And another big announcement before we get started. We are now on Stitcher. We're working on getting on there as well. So Stitcher, that means we got the iTunes, we got the Spotify. We're working on Pandora as well to get everything up and running. Maybe some SoundCloud even. Shout out to Chance the Rapper. I know he's a huge SoundCloud guy. Maybe we'll get Moses to do a little rapping for us.
I would love for that guy to be on this pod with us.
If we get on SoundCloud. But yeah, Stitcher, definitely check us out. All platforms are available, of course. You can always follow all the action at our social medias. Facebook is Box to Box Radio, easy to find. Twitter, it's at B_B_radio. And of course, on Instagram, it's Box to Box _radio. Guys, Travis kind of alluded to this very sad fact, but SKC 5-2 losers at home to Monterrey, 10-2 on aggregate. I was not expecting that. As you guys knew, I was hoping for the SKC comeback, but I really, really wasn't expecting Monterrey to come out and thrash Kansas City in the blue hell of Kansas City, Kansas. Guys, what were your reactions from this game?
I think for me, this is a point I want to make kind of as a broad stroke. But for me, it's so hard for MLS teams to be successful in CONCACAF Champions League because of the timing of the league.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, for example, Atlanta United wins the MLS Cup, right? And then they have to then go after the season when they've already cooled down to try to be successful in Champions League.
New players,
new coach.
System,
they sell Almiron. So, I don't think an MLS team has ever been consistent enough to win the MLS Cup and then the next year make a good run in the Champions League. It's hard. There's so much turnover.
I disagree with that. I think Toronto FC did a really, really good job.
They did, but
they got super unlucky not to win the thing last year.
Yeah, but it's very rare for a team to be successful in MLS in terms of trophies, in terms of kind of squad depth and squad rotation, and have a good enough squad to go several years at the top of the league.
Yeah, and I agree. I think, Moses, you and I were talking a little bit about the salary cap discrepancy too.
Yeah, that does play a big part in the MLS's growth. I mean, if you give these guys the money that Barcelona has, these guys are going to have amazing, phenomenal players to play with, so
even the money that Monterrey had. I mean, Monterrey, that's a $9 million team.
No, yeah.
And MLS, you're looking at not even close to that amount. Maybe a $2-3 million team at most.
Right. And unfortunately, right now we're at that growing stage, which isn't bad. I mean, it's showing that we're coming from a huge difference. I mean, from not qualifying for the World Cup to where we're at right now. I think that's a huge difference, in my opinion. And I think that it's only going to progress, and we're going to have phenomenal results by it.
Yeah, I agree. And guys, Jerson Fernandez for SKC, really the only guy causing Monterrey any trouble in this one. A comfortable 5-2 win. SKC were chasing the game the whole time, trying to get some more goals. Not really much more I want to dive into on this one. I think just outclassed by, we can all agree, I think a better opponent. And Maybe MLS isn't as close to the CONCACAF Champions League glory as we thought they were.
Hey, we got 2 goals. I think we're doing pretty decent right now.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to be interested to see. I'm going to make a bold prediction that I think LAFC could be one of the teams that wins it and sticks around.
If they hold on to Walker Zimmerman.
That's true. I mean, I think they're very deep, though, and they have a lot of opportunity. They have a front four that they like to rotate, so we'll see.
To be honest, I would actually love to see Seattle play one of these Mexican League teams.
Yeah, I would too. Their defense is really solid. The only thing I'm worried about with Seattle is, of course, Chad Marshall's ancient.
Yeah.
Would he be able to hold up? Would he be durable enough? Yeah.
I think there's some depth in Seattle, to be honest.
I agree, but is Stefan Fry that good?
I still think he's one of the better goalkeepers.
I think he's actually pretty. I guess he would be in the top. I call it my top 8. I'll give him my top 8.
He's no Bill Hamid.
You're gonna keep beating that dead horse, Travis.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah, guys. Speaking of Bill Hamid, let's go ahead and dive in and kind of switch gears here to MLS action. We had an early game this week. On Tuesday, we had a 0-0 draw between DC and Montreal. Of course, we talked about that last week. No Rooney, no Urruti. This one kind of played out like I thought it would. Didn't really take any DC attackers this week in my fantasy team because I knew that they had pretty stern defense, so
I did not
they got me some points.
That advice.
Yeah, shout out to Elijah Timms again. Beat him 92-91. It was a nail biter. That was pretty hard. Oh, guys, we talked about last week the Travis Derby. Travis, fill us in on how that went.
Well, hold on. I don't make excuses, but I'm going to go for it. Seattle versus Colorado got canceled because of snow in Colorado, and it was a double play week, and I had Brad Smith and I had Leardare.
Who?
Yeah.
Kelvin Leardam, I think.
Leardam, thank you.
Yeah.
I had both of them, and they both could have gotten severe points. Double week,
yeah,
and Travis Ade just happened to pick Sultan, who scored 2 goals.
I had 2 Seattle players as well, and guess what? I still won my matchup, so I don't want to hear any excuses.
Yeah, but
be better.
But
don't be sorry. Be better.
Okay, hold on. I would like to take this time on the air and admit that Travis Ade is a better MLS.
A-Day. He did get at us on Twitter and say his name is pronounced like Mayday. Travis A-Day.
All right, whatever. Travis, you are the better Travis for MLS Fantasy. Let's continue the show.
Look at that. I love it. It's actually now in recording, so that will never go away. So yeah, 0-0 draw here. DC versus Montreal. Not a lot of the starters in this one. Of course, Piatti's still out with that injury as well. We hope he comes back soon. Moving right along, 1-1 draw for the Friday game. It was Chicago versus Vancouver. Guys, pretty interesting game here. Goals from Yordi Reyna and then a late PK from Nemanja Nikolic. Of course, the Fire were at home in this one, and Nikolic kind of rescuing a point there for him. Chicago has not really looked cohesive and ready to go this year. They've been kind of scrapping out draws. They've played a pretty good attacking style soccer. They just can't finish, guys. And I think it's the same situation here.
Yeah, they got kind of lucky as well because the referee originally, I don't know how he missed it, but he was 5 feet from the thing and he didn't award the PK, and then he went to VAR. I thought Chicago was better in this one. They can't finish. They can't finish, man.
Nikolic has been a ghost of his former self.
Yeah, he has.
When CJ Sapong is your highest touted goal scorer, I mean, it's time to reevaluate who you got on the roster. And of course, the other thing I saw in this one was Nico Gaitan was lined up as a number 10, but he was too wide too often. He was not lined up in the middle. I think you're better off maybe putting him on the wing and maybe putting Georgi Mihailovic back in at the 10.
So does Schweinsteiger get to play in the midfield, or is he just doomed to play center back for the rest of his life?
Apparently, Veljko Paunovic sees him there, and apparently Schweinsteiger sees himself there, but you're taking your best midfielder on the team and put him in the back.
Pick him for my fantasy now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good
They're going to end up having to put him as a defender. I might have to pick that instead.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be a good defensive player. But yeah, Mo Adams, I think he was ineffective in this game. He's only really good if you got a marquee player on the other team and he can man mark him out of the game. But you're playing Vancouver, so there's not really a marquee player on the other side. Guys, moving right along, Montreal Impact, second game of the week on Saturday, 1-0 winners in their home opener at Stade Saputo. Had a lot of fans there. A bucket list game for me. I really want to go see a Montreal Impact game in Canada.
Man, that was a great atmosphere.
It was a great atmosphere. I love the bell.
The pitch was atrocious.
It wasn't great, but what would you do if you had that much snow during the week? I mean, it's hard. They're not in an indoor stadium. They have to deal with the weather factors there.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that the pitch has to be bumpy and yellow.
I thought it was more smooth than
Did you look
than
at the
did.
ball?
I
The
did.
ball was bouncing all over the
watched
place.
that entire game. Did you watch that entire
I did.
game?
I actually watched it.
To be fair, though,
Sanya was good, by the
if
way.
we're going to talk about pitches, to be fair, I would rather play on that than an AstroTurf pitch.
Oh, I agree. I'd rather play on that.
I would rather play on that than NYCFC.
My torn ACL would agree with you.
Yeah, I think a lot of these very elite players would prefer to play on that
guys,
yellow grass.
Hey, Slatan says I'll play on anything, baby. Let's go.
What a champion.
He's a different breed.
Harry Navilo with the goal in this one. He's kind of the guy that's starting a little bit over Piatti because Piatti's been hurt. Guys, not much in this one. Textbook, I'd say, from last year, Montreal Impact win. The first couple games of the season, they came out and tried to take the game to the opposition and play a bit more open possession style. Daniel Lovitz came out after the game and basically said, look, we sat in, we played compact defense, we tried to catch him on the counter, and I really think that this is the identity of the Impact if they want to win games.
Also, I mean, Maxi Urruti with a phenomenal decision. He gets in 1v1, he beats the defender, and instead of hitting a weak shot off balance with his left foot, turns around, lays it off. Great choice from Maxi Urruti.
Yeah, and
very smart.
We went to FC Dallas games, my brother and I, forever watching Urruti just looking up from 40 yards and saying, fancy you go. And so him looking for that pass was a really good development. So, 1-0 winners there with Montreal. Next game we got here is the Dynamo versus San Jose.
Boo.
Weird game here. A rain delay at halftime, so lightning in the area, but the Dynamo again come out 2-1 here as winners in this one. Goals from La Panterita, Albert Elise, and then a response from Jackson Ewell. He has been a revelation in that midfield for San Jose. And then Tomas Martinez with the other goal for Houston. Guys, I think this is an easy win for the Dynamo. It's a home game. They've looked great at home. Which should surprise you, they're one of the 2 undefeated teams in the league right now. And those 2 teams, 3 undefeated teams. It's the Sounders.
LAFC.
Sorry, I'll go with 4 then now. I'm really flubbing my lines here. The Sounders, Toronto, LA. I know Toronto's not undefeated, so I guess there's 3. They lost the Sounders this week.
They did, yeah.
Seattle, Houston, and LAFC, all Western Conference teams still unbeaten in the league. So,
And also winless is the New England Revolution.
we're not on them right now, man.
Sorry.
Stretching.
I couldn't resist.
So, San Jose I felt looked
like a
better
long
in this
stretch.
one than they have. They look more compact defensively. It's just that back line needs a heck ton of work. Tommy Thompson looked okay. I still don't know why Nick Lima's not starting. They have to go get Flo Youngworth has looked good in the system, kind of being that free player in the man marking system, but they have to get another center back if they're going to compete. They have to. I don't think Guram Kashia or Harold Cummings are at the level in this league to compete.
Man, they're really missing Beta Shore, aren't they?
Yeah, I would love to see Lima.
Yeah, Beta Shore's not a center back, son. They got Nick Lima.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah, they really need a Victor Bernardes type to come back and
There
boss
it
the
is.
middle.
That's a good shout.
So, again, 2-1 game there. We move over to what I really think was the game of the week here. And, Mo, I want you to break this one down for us a little bit. 3-2 Seattle Sounders win over Toronto. This is actually the marquee game that you really wanted to talk about today. So, Mo, give us your thoughts on this game.
So, I'm recently just following up with MLS, doing what I should, as well as every other follower.
Do
out
your
here.
research, yeah.
So, pick a team, follow them for a season, and trust me, you'll actually like MLS a lot more than what you actually think. So, going into it, one thing that I love about Seattle is the intensity that they bring from the start, right? So you have some teams that will, pass a little bit low. Go ahead, let me get my quick touches in, we'll move the ball, around the back, through the middle and everything.
Kind of like Sporting Kansas City a little
exactly,
bit.
yeah.
Ew.
Now, don't get me wrong.
That wasn't an insult.
Yeah, right. So don't get me wrong, that fits for every team. But what I love about Seattle is that they start with high intensity, man. I mean, they press. One thing that I love that they do is that they go up the wings. They go up the wings and they congest the box. And right away, they send crosses in. And that automatically puts the defensive team in a position to where they have no other choice but to defend and pull deep, right? So one thing that I love that they do as well is that they do the one touches. They attack through the mid. They get in. And I think that played a huge part in this game. Toronto, they did very well with their transitioning and moving the ball when they had the ball. But in this game, I think Toronto pulled out the victory by outplaying Toronto. Seattle
pulled out the victory.
Right,
there it is.
We get what you're saying.
Yeah. Sorry. I think Seattle pulled out the victory over Toronto by outplaying them. Now, one thing about Toronto, though, is that Pozuelo and Altidore are on the same page, man. Those guys,
They are, aren't
without
they,
even
man?
looking, they are on the same page. And that's what I give them credit, because that takes a lot of work for two players who haven't played with each other in such a long time to get it on like that.
Yeah, we have Lucharu in DC United. We had Obadoose in Seattle. What is their couple name? Is it Posador? I mean,
I like that.
We need a little bit more attractive. That sounds like a little
Altazuelo. I mean, I don't know. We got to work on that.
I like that.
We got to get Weeby on the works this one. He's the guy, of course, that coined Lucharu.
But if you didn't watch the game, so the reason why I say that is that Pozuelo was on the end of Altidor's goals. So he's assisting Altidore twice in this game. Yeah. And that's not easy for any other player to do, you know? So again, I give credit to Toronto, but I think they outplayed them just by the aggression. That their transitioning was good. With Seattle, 4 games at home, I didn't see Toronto actually taken away from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Toronto actually came in and did very well. This was a was a great game. All of a sudden, I turn it on, it's 1-0 Seattle, and then it's bang, 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 bang. Yeah. Goals. Will Bruin gets 2, like you said.
The bear.
Yeah, Moses, great shout.
Bear, Will Bruin.
The services was good, and Will Bruin is just a brute. He loves to get in.
Yeah. That guy's getting
the bear in the air.
He's finally getting some playing time. I honestly think his presence is getting known.
I agree. But I gotta say, Toronto got a little bit unlucky. Mm-hmm. They could have stolen a point. Laurent Simon at the very end smashes the post. Stefan Fry, sign of the cross. He got a little lucky there.
Fry has a new best friend, I can tell you that.
It's the post, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah, but honestly, it is that post. But Fry,
it's nice to have friends.
Fry has actually had a phenomenal season so far.
Yeah, he's done well.
He's conceded. He has conceded 5 goals, and the team has put in 14.
Yeah,
that's a great result.
Impressive.
I think Seattle and LAFC are the teams to go out and beat, and especially the West looks. For years the Eastern Conference was stronger than the West in MLS, but I think the West has really stepped up. Last year the East was stronger than the West, but I think the West has really, really stepped their game up this year, guys. Of course, goals in this one. Josie Altidore opens the scoring. The response from Will Bruin, the dancing bear, former Houston Dynamo player. Then Bruin again with the brace, then Roldan with the dagger. And then in the 70th, Altidore pulls one back. Like Travis said, Laurent Simon could have pulled one back here. Mo, great game. Thank you for that analysis, too. That was beautiful analysis of what's going on with Seattle and Toronto there. 2 of the best teams. A bitter rivalry with these teams. They played back-to-back MLS Cup championships against each other. Seattle won the first one without having a single shot on goal. Toronto won the second one, absolutely bossing them at home, not getting embarrassed again. So, guys, pretty good game here, yeah?
Yeah, if these 2 teams at this high caliber, if this is what they're bringing us in the season, imagine what the playoffs and what finals will look like.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
If these 2 teams are in the final, that's going to be amazing.
But also, especially with the new playoff format that allows more teams to make the playoffs. Oh, man, I'm excited.
We're talking good games, quality
and also,
games too, man.
If you look at, we've only discussed a few games, but if you look at the atmosphere in some of the newer stadiums in MLS, and we'll get there, but the new format rewards you for being better in the season. You get home field advantage.
There's no 2 legs anymore.
But
it's just one leg.
But that's Seattle's really nice. Atmosphere, Toronto's atmosphere, Montreal's atmosphere, and Mason's going to talk more on Allianz Field, the opening, and
you're not even ready.
I'm going to talk about LAFC and the 3-2-5-2. Man,
my favorite unconventional formation.
But yeah, guys. But honestly, guys, this season it's brought us a lot of great games, and I think it's only going to get better throughout the season.
Yeah, we're not even at the All-Star break
We haven't
yet.
even scratched the surface. We have not scratched the surface, and this is what we're bringing.
Yeah, guys. Again, like we always say, if you want to go back and watch some highlights, they have full game highlights on MLSsoccer.com. They have the full game on ESPN Plus as well. Go check those out. It's really, really good stuff, guys. And now to my marquee game of the weekend, Winterfell. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, producer Chris is raising his hands like a madman over here. They're clearing snow off the field the first 20 minutes of the game. And guys, this was an absolute shootout in Minnesota. Of course, Allianz Field gets opened up, brand new. The atmosphere was phenomenal. You had both typhos. One was legendary with Minnesota. They had all of their former NASL and USL clubs, and they finally said that, this is your home. The Loon flies home, of course, representing that Minnesota bird on their crest. The loon finally flies home. Great typo there. And I loved NYCFC's typo too. Basically said something along the lines of congrats on your stadium, must be nice. I really, really enjoyed that from NYCFC.
Wow.
That was awesome in this one. So goals in this one, Ozzy Alonso, the Honey Badger.
Go on the Honey Badger.
Opens up the scoring in the 13th minute. And then
great goal.
Castellanos, who they deployed as a number 9 in this one with the goal in the 16th minute. I really, really liked. We'll get into Dome Torrent's tactics here in a minute. Tajuri Shradi with the 18th. They go in the league. And of course, Angelo Rodriguez, the best hold-up man in the entire league, with the go-ahead or with the tie equalizing goal.
He scored this week. It's unbelievable.
The equalizing goal for Minnesota, and
was it a header? It was a header.
I don't think it was a header.
It was a header.
It looked like it kind of went off the back.
I think it was a header.
We'll get into that in a minute. But Sean Johnson with a worldie, an absolute absolute howler from Sean Johnson. Nothing you want to see. His teammates are lifting him up. Still think he's a great goalkeeper. Nothing against him. And then Tajuri Shradi in the 64th with the equalizer here. Guys, I think Ozzy Alonso scoring the first goal in the new arena. He is sitting on the Iron Throne right now for Minnesota. We're going to keep going with this motif of the Game of Thrones. Guys, it was a very, very good game here. Darwin Quintero pulling the strings in the midfield. The big thing I want to highlight here was the coaching adjustment from Dome Torrent, because if you guys didn't know, he's got 4 wins in his NYCFC career. 4 wins. That's it for Dome Torrent. And so he came out in this game in a really weird 3-4-3. I didn't really like it very much. He had Metrita and Tinnerholm as wing backs. He had Tony Rocha, shout out ex-Aztecs player Tony
Austin
Rocha.
Aztecs. Look at that. Tony Rocha.
Playing as a left center back, which I really don't agree with. He had Sands playing in the back too. James Sands, not bad, but they came out and absolutely were getting shredded down the middle of the field. And Minnesota looked a much better team. At halftime, he made the adjustment. He took out Tony Rocha and put on, let me look at the sub here for Tony Rocha here, Alexandru Mitrita, their Romanian DP. They moved him to the left wing. They switched to a 4-2-3-1. And guys, I finally think they found their solution up front. They haven't really had a stereotypical, prototypical number 9. They brought Heber in, but I don't think with his pedigree and with his resume, I don't really think he's going to be anything more than an average MLS player. But Castellanos looked amazing up front for them this week. He was stretching the back line. Taylor Twellman talked about it a lot in the broadcast. He was keeping him honest. He had 2 or 3 chances that should have been goals. I think the more that you get out of him is going to be good. However, big scare in this one was the head injuries. Him and Iko Para, Castellanos, Iko Para went up for a header. Both of them went down. Iko Para immediately needing to go off, which he's had several concussions in the past, so keep an eye out on that one. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. And then Castellanos did not want to come off, but shout out to Dome Torrent and the medical staff of NYCFC. Dome Torrent listened to his medical staff when they said there's absolutely no way that Castellanos is coming back on the field. Yeah. So I really, really appreciate that. Guys, I'm spent on this game. What else do you guys have to bring up?
So this is my question, and I'll pose it to both of you, but NYCFC had a goal taken back via VAR for a quote-unquote handball.
Yeah.
So ball goes around Minone, the striker's in, kind of chicken wings it a little bit past Minone. Here's my question. Did it touch his hand? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a handball.
Man, I'm not convinced. I don't know. He obviously went for it with the chicken wing.
Chicken winged it.
No. He attempted to chicken wing it. I don't know if there's actual contact there.
He touched it. His hand touched it.
That was close, though.
No,
that's
that
like
wasn't a goal.
Razor thin.
Yeah.
Is it home crowd? Is that why they got the call?
No, I just think that was the right call. Do you agree with me, Moses, or do you disagree?
I mean, it could have gone. Realistically, honestly, it could have gone either way.
Like that, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go ahead and be on the fence on that one. I think it could have gone either way.
Whoa, time out. You can't be on the fence. Pick one. Was it a handball or was it not a handball? You gotta pick.
Well, you have to understand different perspectives. You know what I mean?
You're the referee at Allianz Field. What do you got?
But I'm going with the VAR. If they have a better view and they're gonna tell me exactly, what they saw and, from a different angle and, stuff like that. I think I'm going to have to listen to them as well.
It was a handball.
Right.
It was a handball.
I don't know, man.
It's okay. It was a handball.
Was it more of a handball than Ryan's hauling?
We'll get there in a minute.
We'll get there. We'll get there. I'll
Hey.
discuss that one because I honestly feel different about it.
We'll
but
talk about that one.
We'll get there in a minute. Who's hosting the show, guys?
Apparently you.
Yeah, apparently. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I'm getting paid $15.
Producer Chris, why am I not
Show.
on the
This is
payroll?
never going to get old.
He's calling them dollars, but what he's really trying to say is 15 cents.
Hey, it's 15 more cents than you're getting. So,
I'm making fun.
guys,
He's on a
3-3
DP
in this
contract.
one. I think it's a little bit Minnesota a little bit hard done by to not get all 3 points in their home opener.
Well, Angelo Rodriguez, in the last minute of the game, decides to defend on the goal line and keep him onside. So, I mean, they kind of gave the game away. So, I don't know how you feel about that, but I wasn't too happy about that. He's standing on the goal line, not really defending, but keeping everybody onside.
The last goal was in the 64th minute. What do you mean the last minute of the
Okay,
game?
you know what I mean.
I don't know. I don't know.
I
what
think
you
he
meant.
meant
In the 64th
last goal
minute,
of the game. Last
Angelo
goal of the game.
Rodriguez decided to stand on the goal line and screen
Yeah.
Victor Minone.
I also think that could have been much better from Jan Gregus, the DP midfielder that they just signed
that
for
whiffed.
Minnesota. No, not the whiff. Come on. His set piece delivery was terrible all game. His corner kicks didn't beat the first man. His free kick, the only good free kick he had, he hit right at Sean Johnson. Johnson, granted, made a good save over the bar, but it was right down the middle of the goal. And then in the last embers of the game and stoppage time, he had a chance to whip a ball in, and he completely hit it short. Again, I don't know why they had this guy on set pieces. Granted, Darwin Quintero was out of the game at this point, but he should not, again, be on set pieces. So, guys, that's all I got from that one. Moving right along here. 2-0 winners, Atlanta and New England. And guys, it was the Ezekiel Barco show. Of course, Barco came on for the injured Eric Remedi. They dropped Nagbe in a little bit. The big takeaway for this one was, one, Barco feels like he's got his coming out party now in MLS. And number two, Atlanta switched formations from the 3-4-3 to the 4-2-3-1. They looked much more comfortable. Tito Villalba finally is starting. I don't know why he hasn't been starting. And then more problems at the back here for this really, really poor New England team.
So two things. One, Barco's goal was outstanding.
Tasty.
That might be one of the goals of the year. That was
Delicious.
cuts in on the right foot, absolutely curls it around Cody Cropper. Yeah, it was interesting.
It was phenomenal.
So here's my second question. I'll pose it to both of you. Like, is Atlanta finally finding the groove? Or is
No.
New England that bad?
New England's that bad.
Yeah, New England.
At home, New England's that bad?
New England's that bad. Yeah, Travis, and I'm going to quote Matt Doyle on this on Matchday Central. So MLS, soccer.com, they always break down all the action on game days. I suggest you look into that to get a little bit more opinions and kind of get a little bit more of a little bit of clarity of what we're talking about here. But Matt Doyle said it pretty well. If Atlanta comes out next weekend at home and balls out against FC Dallas, then we can be a little more confident. But remember, the same Atlanta team beat Herediano 4-0 in CCL, and we thought that they were back. But guess what? They weren't.
Fair.
So they beat the worst team in the league. I'm not afraid to say the worst team in the league with
A
the
wooden
worst
spoon.
with the worst coach in the league. That it was just
you gotta
New England
give-
can't do anything right. They
You
haven't had
gotta give some love
Hey,
for Brad Friedel.
they haven't registered. Okay, if their strikers haven't registered a single shot on goal, they've had 3 separate starting goalkeepers all year. Travis, do the math. This is a terrible New England team.
This is true.
It is, but on that note, I think this will do Atlanta a lot of justice here. They're coming off of a 2-0 win for themselves. So in my opinion, I feel maybe we might see a better Atlanta coming into the mid of the season. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, I mean they got a lot of talent. They just got to figure it out.
Exactly,
And hopefully
yeah.
Frank de Boer can figure that out.
Yeah, at
But
the start of the season it was a little rough, but I think Atlanta, they have potential to move on with this victory here.
yeah, I agree. So guys, Atlanta coming out. New England got a lot of problems. The only bright spot's been really Carlos Heel in that midfield. A lot to look out for there. Moving right along, FC Dallas hosted the Portland Timbers at home. 2-1 win for FC Dallas, although they tried to give it away as much as they could at the end of the match there. Jesus, don't call me David Ferreiro with the first goal. Really rolling along. Second goal in his little short burgeoning MLS career. Here's really looking like that answer up top for FC Dallas.
he might be better than his dad long term.
MLS
MVP.
We'll see. Reto Ziegler with the PK there, making it 2-0 Dallas. And then, of course, second half, right around the 70th minute, FC Dallas starts to fall apart with this young team. Christian Paredes scored. And then, of course, the controversial lack of a penalty call here for an apparent handball in the box by Ryan Hollingshead. In all honesty, I think that Portland were a little bit hard done by here at the end of the game, even if penalty, no penalty, what have you. They looked really, really good in the last 20 minutes. And again, nervy moments for this young Dallas team. But I really want to commend Luchi Gonzalez before we get into the PK talk here. He put on Bresson. He put another center back on to kind of lock the game down. I felt it got better on that end, but he's really got to figure out how to get some veteran know-how into this team so that the young kids aren't costing the game. I really think when Brian Acosta gets back, he'd be a good guy if he doesn't start to bring off the bench to manage the game. They're missing that Victor Ulloa type of player, the veteran guy to come in that's been there before to help them lock down games. I think that's a guy that we really, really need to see for FC Dallas. Guys, penalty, no penalty.
No penal.
Oh my
no
goodness.
penal.
So hold on. Before I get into that, I'm going to piggyback off Mason. So for the first time in a long time, even when the FC Dallas is struggling or not playing their best 11, they're scoring goals. So I think
that's true.
There's a lot to be said for that. And I do think Acosta is going to bring a lot in when he comes back in from injury. So we'll see. But Ferreira's done outstanding. Palmcole's been outstanding.
Edwin Cerrillo has looked really, really good in that midfield too.
But man, Moses, it's a penalty. I love Dallas. I love Ryan Hollingshead, but it's a penalty. It hit him in the hand. He's not playing volleyball.
No, you're absolutely you're right. But we'll get to that in a second. One thing I did want to mention about the youth, it would be nice to see a little bit more senior players in this squad.
I think
long term
to close out the game.
Long term.
I don't even think long term.
Only because look, listen here.
To close out a game, maybe because you need the veteran experience. But I don't think from the start because the kids are obviously scoring
not
goals.
From the start. But okay, my thing is that I would hate to see these young guys get burnt out. You know what I mean? They're young. They can take these games, full 90, but I would love to see a Costa coming in off the bench, helping a little bit, only because, like I said, I would hate to see Dallas and their young ones kind of get tired and get exhausted a bit.
Yeah, but I also kind of disagree because you talked about a little earlier getting more veterans on the field for this team, but I think the inclusion of all the youth players and the fact that there's so much competition and knowing that Luchi Gonzalez is going to play the young kids, even if those guys start to get benched out, you got Thomas Roberts, you got Edwin Cerrillo, you got Ja'Cory Hayes that are coming in. But guys, I don't really want to keep too much time on this Dallas game. I just want to get to the penalty kick, guys. Was it a penalty? Was it not a penalty? Straight up, I need to hear your answers.
I don't think it was.
Like I said, I love Dallas. I love Hollingshead. It was a penalty. His hand's coming up. It hit him in the hand. If I'm Portland, I'm hard done by. Now, however, at the very end of the game, the dude clearly takes a dive, and that the referee doesn't know what to call. So he's like, I don't know what to do. Instead of go to VAR, he calls for full time. So he kind of
the game was pretty much over at that.
Yeah, I know, but
he gets away with the calls, like you're telling me.
Still, he's like, he literally put his hand to his ear and was like, what should I call?
No, I did see that. I did actually see that.
Yep,
I saw that.
And he called for full time.
I'm not going to be biased here. I did see that.
All right, but anyway, back to the point. It's a penalty. It has to be a penalty.
But his arm was coming in.
But his arm was going
coming in.
up. It's not volleyball.
No.
His arm was
actually
out,
was.
and it starts coming in.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Did it hit him in the hand? Yes or no?
It did, but
and it was not a part of his body at that point in time. It's a handball.
It was coming into his body,
but it wasn't a part of his body.
But no. The thing that comes into play is: did he widen out his body?
Was he making himself bigger? No, he was making himself smaller.
Exactly. Did he open up his body to deny a goal scoring opportunity by making himself bigger, or did he try to get out of the way of the ball and shrink his body?
Yeah, his hands were coming in.
But okay, and that's a fair point. But for me, his arm is not connected to his body, whether he's trying to bring it in or not. It hits him in the hand. It doesn't hit him in the arm. It doesn't hit him in the chest. It hits him in the hand. For me, that's harsh, but it's a penalty.
Disagree.
Okay, but that's the thing.
So if you're Portland, are you not a Portland fan? Do you not feel hard done by?
I've been on Twitter. Portland fans really feel hard done by.
Is that more because the handball or Lucas Milano?
But okay,
you can't spell Milano without mono, so it's one and the same there.
But all right. But we're talking about the FC Dallas game right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
And honestly, as soon as the ball was headed, he was bringing his hand in already.
Yeah, but it still hits him in the hand.
But it's not in a natural position. He's coming down from.
I agree.
Up.
It's not in a natural position.
But as soon
unnatural position.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
As soon as that ball was headed, he brought his hands in because he knew what trouble he could have been in.
Yeah,
he knew where his hands were. They were out.
You're
so
talking
he
about
brought him in as soon as that ball was headed.
MLS Humanitarian of the Year here with Ryan Hollingshead. So this isn't a guy that's going to try and cheat the system. Like, if it was a penalty, I guarantee you Hollingshead would have gone up to the ref and said, hey, man, it's my B.
I'm not saying that's... So, man, look, it's
this
a penalty.
Dude got out of his car in a blizzard to run over and help a dude out of his car.
Don't guilt trip me. It's a penalty. The second one...
it's okay to have that opinion. You're just wrong.
So, Mason, please tell me. I can't remember off the top of my head. Who was it that went down too easily in the second one? It's the last kick of the game. He dives. It should have been a card, and the referee doesn't know what to do, so he just calls for full time.
I think, if I'm correct there, I think that was David Guzman. From Portland. I think that was
it's very possible. But you see the clip, man, and it's like he literally runs across Hedges, who Hedges just does that and just doesn't touch him, and he just falls and grabs the ball, and the ref just points to his ear, and at that point he'd already kind of blown it, so he's like, yeah, it's over. We're at time, so full time, right?
I think he took the easy way out on that one.
I agree. And it wasn't a penalty. Was not it should have been a card for diving, but
yeah, guys,
easy way out.
Guys, we're not going to belabor this point anymore.
Again,
if on Twitter, if you think that this is a penalty, please tweet us. # Team Travis, # Team Mason and Moses. It's at @B_radio on Twitter. I know I plugged that a lot, but again, you got to remember it. Travis doesn't remember it a lot of the time, so we might plug it as much as possible.
Excuse me, it is at @B_radio. That is our Twitter.
That's the first time he's ever gotten it right.
Applause.
Guys, moving on here. Colorado losing at home 2-3 to DC United. Weird look here for DC. They played kind of a 3-5-2. Personnel was a little bit different.
A little 5 in the back,
kind of
Areola as an auxiliary right back.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he started as a right back.
It was weird, though.
Yeah, goals in this one, Feilhaber in the 11th, Acosta with the equalizer, then 2 more. Chris Durkin, oh my gosh, first goal, and what a peach it was.
A great goal, wasn't it?
What a goal. And guys, amidst the interest from European clubs this week, there were talks about a German club bringing him in on loan with the option to buy. DC rejected that. So I think they had to play him. You got to give him more minutes. I think he's a guy that I would start him and Canals together in the midfield and maybe sit Junior Moreno because I think both of them really good.
But he's been so good, though.
It's a good problem to have if you're DC United.
Okay, fair point.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. Depp.
Yeah, Lucas Rodriguez again, and then of course Kai Kamara. There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and a Kai Kamara header goal. So, guys, yeah, of course, Colorado's still not looking great in this one. They got to solidify that defense. A lot of guys, Jack Price, Matt Dole did a good analysis on this one. He's playing as a DM. He's not really a DM. He kind of watched Chris Durkin run on that goal and watched Lucas Rodriguez. So if you watch that whole goal for Chris Durkin, you'll see the demise that is the Colorado Rapids backline.
I think he has too much confidence in Tim Howard, who gave up a pretty soft couple goals there.
Yeah, I just don't think he's got enough culture. Definitely couldn't play for New England.
But he just kind of shouts. Like when he gives up a goal, he just shouts at anyone and everybody, and like it's their fault.
But to be fair, he did look for that space very nicely.
Yeah. And I love Tim Howard, and he's very passionate, and he's my favorite goalkeeper of all time. And, I love his passion, but I think the game is just getting away from him. I think he's a bit old.
Yeah,
it is. So too. And I think that, honestly, I think reports say that this is his final season.
Yeah, he's going to retire at the end of the season. He definitely is.
Definitely the best goalkeeper to ever play for the United States.
By far.
I'd agree with that.
When your time comes, your time comes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Guys, we go now to a rival, the Rocky Mountain Cup rival of Colorado, Real Salt Lake hosting Orlando. And we had the Loon Derby last week. We got the Lion Derby this week, guys. Really, really good game. This is the first time that Real Salt Lake has beaten Orlando City in a regular season match.
We're
the first
here
ever
for
time.
RSL.
Goals in this one. The new man, Sam Johnson, the new DP striker, gets one on the 17th, opening his scoring tally for Real Salt Lake. Of course, the Everton Louise injury in this one, Nick Beasler comes on, the, of course, younger brother of Matt Beasler. Demir, the Karate Kid, Krylock in the 55th with an assist from Savarino. And then pretty late here, Luis Nani Almeida getting one, bringing it back. Nani, if you're not initiated, he got that late goal in the 81st. Guys,
he has arrived.
I think the best thing out of this game was the GIF afterward. I think if you guys haven't seen it on Twitter, oh my gosh, it's so great from Real Salt Lake. So they have the Orlando City's Lion mascot. his head is photoshopped onto Mufasa.
Oh, goodness.
And they have the Real Salt Lake Leo the Lion mascot photoshopped onto Scar.
Oh, my.
And then, of course, if you've seen The Lion King, how that turns out, long live the king. And then it pans over to Simba, who is none other than Dom Dwyer. If you guys haven't seen this on Twitter,
wow,
it is gold. I think
what a class act.
the big thing to applaud of this one is finally a win for Real Salt Lake. They've really needed it. And then the other thing is Orlando City. They didn't play bad in this one. They didn't look bad. I think Ruan has some really breakneck speed on that right wing, and he looked pretty good in this game. I think Nani's played pretty well. The wingbacks are staying wide as well. They're playing a pretty old school 3-6-1. Nani's kind of playing
the Corpus Christi.
Corpitos, yeah. Nani's kind of staying as like a second striker underneath, and then they have Kleshin underneath him with 2 destroyers behind. I talked a lot about that. Charlie Davies broke that down on Matchday Central for MLS. But guys, I think things are headed. It's a cross-conference away game for Orlando, so you're not really going to put a lot of stock in this loss for them, I don't think. But I think they're heading in the right direction. That's all I can say about this.
Yeah,
game.
I mean, Nani scores 3 goals in 2 games. Doesn't matter how bad they are. I mean, it works. Is Mueller still lost? Do we know where he is?
Yeah, I mean, he keeps coming off the bench for him, but that's a really interesting thing, too. If you guys want to hear my Chris Mueller takes, please, again, at MasonC19 on Twitter. I would love to talk to you guys about my Chris Mueller takes. Got a lot of interesting opinions on that one. But, guys, we got to move on. 2-0 win for the Galaxy hosting Philadelphia. Zlatan's going to Zlatan here. Young team for Philadelphia as well. You had an injury to Marco Fabian. If you watch the World Cup, you'd get that reference. It's actually Fabian. He got injured here, and then Philly looked lost when he was off the field. They didn't really have their chance creator. Fafa Pico came on for that. But, guys, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, 2 goals. He drew a PK as well and scored that one. Jorgen Skelvik with the assist. I think really funny after the game. Zlatan came out last game when Skelvik kind of under-hit that pass against Vancouver and said, I told my kid I was going to score a goal tonight, and if Jorgen plays that ball in the air, I score a goal. So it's his fault, and he's got to apologize to my kid. Jorgen puts it in the air. Zlatan scores a header this game. I think he learned his lesson, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Zlatan, thank you for making me lose fantasy. Travis, well done.
He giveth and he taketh away.
Bags 2 goals off a very questionable penalty.
Yeah, I think also that Philly looked kind of out of their depth with their youth in this game. I think their back line played scared against Zlatan, and there's not much more to say about that one. Yeah, for sure, guys. Moving on, Travis, this is the game of the week for you that you really liked. And I think you were telling me that it's a lot to do with the tear that LAFC's on. And, of course, the MVP caliber play of Carlos Vela. Of course, a 2-0 win here, LAFC over Cincinnati. Give us the lowdown on this one, Trav.
Yeah, so I'll make it short and brief. But, I mean, this game is very telling for 2 reasons. One, LAFC has the best home crowd in Major League Soccer.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Their fans are incredible. They are literally jumping for their club and singing.
Yeah, jump for LA Football Club, man. I watched
it's
the documentary.
incredible. Also, Max Bretos, the greatest MLS announcer of all time, called the game.
He is on staff. Like he's paid by LAFC to be their broadcaster.
That's incredible.
Really? That's interesting.
Max Bretos, if you're ever feeling like coming on the show, you are a personal you are a personal idol of mine. I love you, man. I mean, he made the game sound great. LAFC, they win 2-0. They get an early goal from Mark-Anthony Kaye.
Oh, man, what a celebration to do. He hit the woe.
He hit that woe. It was perfect, man. Thank you. He was, Vela got the assist, so I'm glad Walker Zimmerman didn't touch it home because...
hey, he was on my fantasy team.
Because Vela wouldn't have got the assist. But Mark-Anthony Kaye with a good goal from a header, good service from Carlos Vela. If you watch any of the LAFC documentary, Bradley is one of the things where they talk about set pieces are very important. This is the most important thing for me. I don't think Cincinnati's that bad. Cincinnati did well. They had chances. Darren Maddox is better than people think he is. Kendall Watson does a good job at holding it down in the back. Richie in goal is really
Spencer
good.
Richie's been very good for this team, yeah.
But this is the most important thing, I think. So LA get the late goal with Carlos Vela. They kind of go for the jugular. They win 2-0. They score late in stoppage time. But I think as a team, LAFC are the best because they protect Carlos Vela. So Carlos Vela gets fouled early in the game. He gets kind of stood over, and Mark-Anthony Kaye comes in and says, not having it. Comes over, makes a 20-yard run to come get in the guy's face. I mean, anytime you have players that are willing to get in risky situations and potentially sent off for your DP, that says a lot. So I think as a locker room, they're clicking. When you have a front four like that Bradley can manage and rotate in and out with Diamande coming off the bench, I think Bradley does well, and they're going to be big time.
Yeah, let's also talk about Latif Blessing being a revelation at center midfield.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
He's been great for them. Yeah, guys, I think, Mo, you were talking to me a little bit about Carlos Vela, the complete player. He can do with his left foot. He can beat you with his right foot, as he showed in this game. Do you think that he will be the MVP at the end of the season?
Honestly, I think that's going to be another little title race. I mean, you got Ibra, who's in fantastic form, putting in 2 games. I mean, 2 goals. Sorry, 2 games. He's putting in 2 goals just as well as Vela, assisting and putting in goals.
Yeah.
It'll be a very, very interesting Golden Boot title there.
And MVP, I think. And the guys,
yeah, that's true.
Speaking of Golden Boot, they're both above pace of Josef Martinez's record goal scoring season last year.
Life is hard without Almiron.
Keep an eye on that one.
Josef, were you a one-hit wonder? I hope not, buddy.
I hope not either. Guys, good win for LAFC. Of course, they stay top of the table in the West. And now, I loved the Minnesota game. Don't get me wrong. The last game of the weekend was my favorite.
Oh, boy.
By it wasn't even close. SKC hosting the Red Bulls. SKC come out. They look like they should have had 4 goals in the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
Finally, in the first half, Johnny Russell gets the breakthrough. And then by this point, I'm kind of thinking that, okay, we know the Red Bulls. We know they're not really going to score another goal. They're done. And then right after halftime, Danny Royer proves us wrong. Makeshift left back Johan Quase keeps him on side. He runs in, dinks it around. Tim Melia buries in the back of the net. Game on 1-1. And then in the 72nd minute, Brian White, 1 MLS career goal for him, comes on for BWP, who's been Golden Boot winner for several seasons in this league.
He's lost.
Yeah,
Do we know what happened to him?
BWP's livid about being taken off, by the way. He was not happy.
Why?
Within 3 minutes, Brian White scores the go-ahead goal. Off a header. Great cross from Kaku. We'll get into that in a minute, too. Another sub that impacted the game, Gianluca Busio, 88th minute, comes in, scores the game-tying goal. A couple minutes after this, Daniel Shallowy hits the crossbar. You think SKC is going to go up. End-to-end stuff this whole game. And then, 94th minute in stoppage time, Connor Lade misplays a pass off of Graham Susi that was trying to go to Kaku. In Kaku's frustration, he kicks a dead ball 5 yards away from a fan and blasts it at him as hard as he can.
That's wrong.
Straight red card after VAR review. A skirmish goes out. Yellow cards to Nemeth and Robles for going after each other here. Guys, this is going to be a lengthy suspension for Kaku.
By far. That better not be no slap on the wrist there. I would be definitely upset with that. That's just uncalled for in any sport.
Yeah, and I really disliked Luis Robles' comments as well after the game. He said Kaku was remorseful. He talked to him. All the Red Bulls players went over to the fans and apologized. And then if he would have left it at that, that would have been fine. But he had to add the comment, well, that's the price you pay for sitting in the first row of a game, isn't it?
Yikes.
That's that cool. Right there is not that. Luis Robles, if you ever listen to this podcast, man, you're better than that. I lost a lot of respect for you in that moment when you made that. Kaku lost a lot of respect for him as well. But Robles, you're a class player, man. You've been great in this league. Don't make that be your legacy. Don't make that be what we remember you for.
It's no different than spectators and the players should always be separated. When the two merge, bad things happen. It's no separate than when a fan enters the field of play.
Yeah, that's unacceptable as well.
Unacceptable, and that has very big repercussions. And so, anytime a fan or a player, blasts a ball, and man, like you said, 5 yards. It might have been closer.
Yeah, it was really close.
Out of bounds.
Dead play.
Ball.
Because there was an argument about this. Lionel Messi did something similar in a La Liga game. However, the ball was in play and it was whistled for a foul. And so he was still in the run of the moment and then shot it into the crowd. Not going to say that what he did was okay, but at the same time, it was not a dead ball calculated. You had time to think about it decision.
Yeah, and if you have not watched the video, please look it up. I believe it's on ESPN+.
It's on MLSsoccer.com.
MLSsoccer.com.
Easy to find. All over Twitter as well. If you Google Kaku, you'll find it.
But, man,
oh my gosh.
He doesn't just tap, he blasts the thing. He hits it hard, and I'm really hoping that he gets a couple games because that's unacceptable. And it's the same thing we talk about fans coming on the field. It's the same thing vice versa, and there's no room for that in sport.
Absolutely. And the one thing that I really just disliked was that it was a dead ball, and he takes the time to run up on it as if he's striking it for a banger.
Oh man,
it's not even a chip.
That.
It's not even a chip into the crowd. Yeah, exactly.
No,
he takes 2 or 3 steps back and runs up.
And the thing why I feel I feel the pain of the spectator is that dude, those balls are pumped up to regulation.
Oh yeah, those are hard soccer balls.
Those are
and in Kansas City, Kansas.
Exactly.
It's not a warm environment.
On a cold day in Kansas City, in blue hell.
Exactly. That's just uncalled for. I really hope that they punish that man for his actions. That's just unsportsmanship to the max, and I don't follow with that.
Yeah, and I agree. I think shout out to Christian Namath for being the first guy to get up in his face after it happened. I mean, standing up for your fans like that really is why Kansas City is such a special place in this league. I really like that. I think, guys, it's not unreasonable to think Kaku gets 10 to 15 games for this.
I hope so.
This is ridiculous.
Minimum. I hope so.
I think
minimum. Man.
I think minimum 5 games. I think I would not be shocked if they came out and said 10 to 15 for him.
8.
Travis, let me ask you this: if you were that spectator, how would you feel?
No, I
would
mean,
you
I
want
get
that
it.
spectator
No,
could press charges.
I mean,
he could.
Yeah,
he could. Would you want some guy like that to bang the ball in your face?
No,
and you only get.
I mean, and I was a goalkeeper. I get it. You're right, but I think 8 is the sweet spot.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, guys, that's all of our MLS action for this week. Again, a lot of stuff. If you missed out on it, please, MLSsoccer.com with all the highlights, ESPN Plus with all the rewinds of the games. Get at us, guys, on Twitter as well and on our email. Guys, I want to go to the mailbag here. We got one question from Mark Demore on our Facebook page. We talked last pod about the wooden spoon. Mark Demore comes in here and asks us, what is the wooden spoon? And so, guys, I want to kind of give a quick synopsis here of what the wooden spoon is, and then I'm going to ask these guys who they think in MLS this year will win the wooden spoon. So the wooden spoon, for those of you that are uninitiated, is the kind of unofficial title given to the last place team in the league, the team with the least amount of points coming in. So, guys, I want to see what your thoughts are on who should win the wooden spoon. Now that we know that is Mark, again, wooden spoon, the worst team in the league. Mo, we're going to start with you. Who should win the wooden? Who's going to win the wooden spoon at the end of the day in MLS?
With the rate that New England's looking, I would say New England. They're not in great form. They're struggling a bit. They unfortunately, I sound like I'm giving an award to a first place member. But this award will have to go to New England by far.
I mean,
if you had to give a different answer,
yeah, I'm about to say I want to not agree with Moses, but Moses, that's a great shout.
I don't mean to call out the best one here, but
I'll go a different direction. I think I'm not going to go with Atlanta United because I think DeBoer, before that would happen, DeBoer would get fired, and they would hire somebody else to right the ship.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go with Portland for the simple fact that New England has several number 9s that can't score. Portland has 0 number 9s. They have
2
nobody.
On the roster.
No. Those are not true number 9s.
Jeremy Abobasi is an out-and-out number 9. If you think that he could play better anywhere other position on the field, that you're daft.
He is not a striker that can play.
He's a striker.
Listen, he's not a striker that can play by himself. He has to play in 2. He has to play with the partnership.
I disagree with that.
I don't
that's
disagree.
A poor take.
He doesn't. He cannot play by himself up front as the lone striker. I know he's young, but Portland cannot score goals. They cannot defend. They lose to San Jose 3-0, and San Jose is also in the running for the wooden spoon. So I'm going to give it to the Portland Timbers.
Guys, I'm going to go a different direction with this one. I think, and this is a forgivable wooden spoon, I believe, because they're in a rebuild. They've overhauled over half the roster, and they got a brand new first-year MLS coach. I'm going to go with Vancouver Whitecaps in this one. I think
you don't think they turn it around?
I think New England, honestly, is my pick for the wooden spoon.
But Moses already was smart enough to take them.
I think it's feasible for the Vancouver Whitecaps to get there. But I don't think that this is something, if they gradually improve over the season. So if they start, maybe they lose games 2-1, but there's good moments in those games, and there's building blocks. And if Mark DeSantos can take those losses and make the group better over the course of the season, and then get in preseason next year with the full squad that's familiar with each other, and have building blocks and stuff he wants to work on in a style of play. Because he said when he got hired that this would be a 2 to 3 year process. I think that would be good for Vancouver, but I do think they're in contention for this in the Western Conference at least.
Also, keep anybody else a penalty beside Adnan.
Oh,
give
goodness.
anybody else. And give the goalkeeper a penalty. Good Lord.
Yeah.
That was the worst penalty I've ever seen in my life. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That was a little off topic.
Yeah,
But
guys. Yeah, it's fine. Wooden spoon. There it is. Good mailbag question from Mark Demore. Guys, again, get at us in the mailbag. We want to hear your questions. We want to discuss the topics that you're interested in. You can get at us multiple ways. On Twitter, it's at @B_B_radio. Our email is 90min@boxtoboxradio.com. Those are the best two ways to get at us. If you want to message us on Instagram too, that's fine. Guys, remember, podcasts are available on multiple streaming devices here. We're now getting going on Stitcher. That, of course, includes iTunes and Spotify. Working on Pandora and SoundCloud as well. And, of course, all those links would be posted up on our social media pages. Guys, I'm Mason Carmichael. We got Moses Hernandez, Travis Carmichael. Thank y'all so much for listening. We'll see you guys on Friday for a very, very, very special away leg.